Okay, so we learned yesterday, we learned the Mishnah. If somebody is reading a sefer on a skupa, the sefer is in the shape of a Megillah. It's enrolled. That's how they used to have the svarim. They used to have like that, and it rolled down, and so therefore, so there's different opinions. If you're still holding onto it, still holding onto one end, you're still holding onto it. So it wasn't really ever ne'ekar from where you were standing. It rolled into the Shushus Rabim. So are you able to roll it back or not? We had a few opinions in the Mishnah. So the Gemara says this. This is skupa where he's standing on. Standing on skupa that's by the doorstep. Hechedon. Ilma skupa Shushus Yachid. The Kamor Shushus Rabim. The loy gasrinon. If it's talking about the skupa Shushus Yachid, and it rolled into Hasis Rishus Rabim, and it rolled into the Rishus Rabim, and the last opinion was Rabbi Shimon says that even if it's touching the ground, you can still roll it back. So we had different opinions before, but the last opinion was Rabbi Shimon says that even if it's touching the ground, you can still roll it back. Why? Because it's only Gzeira D'Rabbanan. It's Gzeira D'Rabbanan that what the Gzeira D'Rabbanan is that because so far there's never been Oiker. It's never really left the Rishus which you're on because you're still holding it in your hand. So the emes minat deraisa, you're allowed to roll it back. So what would be the reason that you should not be able to roll it? What's the reason that you should not be able to roll it back? It's Gzeira D'Rabbanan. Gzeira D'Rabbanan, because with geyser maybe it'll fall completely. And if we let you in this instance where it's rolled into the Rishus Rabim, you're still holding on to it, and we will permit you to roll it back. So then the different time it could fall, and you'll pick it up and bring it back. So that's Gzeira D'Rabbanan. And so it says if it's Kisvei HaKodesh, because of the zilzul of Kisvei HaKodesh, we do not look about the fact that there is a Gzeira D'Rabbanan, in order for the cover of the Kisvei HaKodesh. So that's what it says. So the Gemara says, "Hi, it's Kupei Chodam Ilm, the cover Shushus Rabim, the front of Shushus Rabim, like Azrina, we're not geyser. Dilma Nafku Ba'asir Asuya. We're not geyser. Maybe it will fall. We're not the geyser. It will fall and not good. So Mani Reb Shimon. So this comes out Reb Shimon, and he's saying over here that even the first Tana, not just the last one, even the first Tana also would be Reb Shimon, because it says even the first Tana who says that the first Tana says the Reb Shimon speaks about later when he was standing on the roof. So on the roof we have different opinions, but the first, if you're standing on the askupa, then there's no machlokes. There's no machlokes over there. It just says stand. You're standing on a skupa, you can roll it back. If you're standing on the roof, that we had all the different opinions. So if we're talking about it's a proper Shushus Rabim, so that means that the first line of the Mishnah, which is talking about a skupa, is like the opinion of the end of the Mishnah, which is Reb Shimon. So the man here, Reb Shimon, the first line of the Mishnah is Reb Shimon. The Omar says, "Called Davar Shum Shuas and Em Kisvei HaKodesh." That you don't make Zeres Rabbanon when it comes to Kisvei HaKodesh. So a safer. So how will be the safer? That it says Rabbi Yehuda Eimer Afila Einim Mesolokal Aretz Al Kimlei Achot Geili Etzli Etzlei Rabbi Shimon Eimer Afila Be'eretz Atzma Geili Etzlei. So later in the Mishnah you have machlokes. You have machlokes when you're talking about Berosh Hagag. The standing Berosh Hagag is a machlokes, gives you opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and then it gives you the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. So it's funny. The Reish of the Sefer, the first line of the Mishnah, where is Rabbi Shimon, and the last line of the Mishnah, the last day of the Mishnah, is Rabbi Shimon, and the middle is Rabbi Yehuda. It's a bit strange. Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's not so bad. Hey, Reisha is safer Reb Shimon, so Rabbi Yehuda. It's true that the Reisha is like a Reb Shimon. That's it's not why if you're standing on the skupa, even though the skupa is a Rishus HaYochid, even though it's a Rishus HaYochid, still you're allowed to pull it back. And the last part we talk about standing on Bereisha Gag. Bereisha Gag also the safer is Reb Shimon, and the middle you have a few other days. But that's the right. Who says that? Rabbi Huda. Rabbi Huda said that. Rabbi Omar Hocha Baskupa Nidresaskin. We're talking about the skupa honey dresses. That lots of people walk past it. So therefore, since a lot of people pass it, so that's mamish terrible. So therefore, you make them more. So here, even the others. So it's so even those who aren't here in Reb Shimon, and they say that the story with the roof over there, that if it's already touching the ground, if it's touching the ground, so then you can't take it back. It's, even those who are here in Reb Shimon, they will still agree that over here, where it's mamish, it's people are walking in and out, then for sure you're allowed to the chacham not gaze. Rabbi asked a question. It says in the Mishnah, when we talk about Bereish Hagag, when the next case in the Mishnah, we talk about Bereish Hagag, so it says that if it reached below 10 Tvachim, then you can, if it's still above 10 Tvachim, then you can roll it back up. Once it reaches into 10 Tvachim, into the average Rishus Rabbim, so you can't roll it back up. Can't roll it back up. The Amrit, if you'll say the Skupani dresses, that if you say this, that the Mishnah is talking about cases where people are walking the whole time, so then if it's talking about people walking all the time, Mali, what's the difference? 1 second. No, this is a Bryson. No, sorry. This is a Bryce. He's asking. Rashi says Rashi doesn't know where this piece is coming from. Doesn't know, but Abaya maybe had it in the Mishnah or something. So he had it. This is a Bryce or in the Mishnah or something about Teuchtal Damas and Chutztal Damas. And but that's what he's asking from. So we'll just leave it like that because Rashi doesn't know where it is. So it's Abaya Teuchtal Damas. If it's within Dal Damas, he rolls it back in. If it's more than Dal Damas, if it went out, spread out more than Dal Damas, then you turn it around. But if this buyer, wherever his mocker was, it was speaking about a skupa, about the same as skupa. So it's either Bryce or the Mishnah, different gears to the Mishnah, whatever it was. So we talk about skip because what's the difference if it's Teich Arba Amas or it's outside the Arba Amas? Because the reason is because it's only Exer Rabbanon, and since Exer Rabbanon, so therefore we don't because of the bizoyan of the Kisa Kodesh, we permit it to roll it back in. Element Abai says, Kitzer. So Abai says that this is talking about the Skupas Karmens. The Skupa is it's not a Rishus HaYochid. And so it's in front of it's like a step in front of the house, but the step itself is not part of Rishus HaYochid. It's not big enough. It's not Gavoya Yud, and so therefore it's Carmelis. Rishus Rabbim varies for now. The Rishus Rabbim in front of it. It's Teir Daladamas. If it's within Daladamas, the Nofel Umaysilele Ostichit Chatos. So if it's rolled, it's unrolled and fell, he's holding on to it to say that. But if it's in the Daladamas, didn't go more than Daladamas. So if it would completely fall out of his hand, Savi would only be a Derabanan because you're taking it from the Rishus Rabbim into a Carmelis. The Nofel Umaysilele Ostichit Chatos. You say you can't count the Chiv Chatos. Sure, the Rabbanon permit you to roll it back up. Part of it is rolled outside the Daladamas. If part of it is after Daladamas, that if you bring it even though you're standing in a Carmelis. But the fact is, we'd be carrying it through Arba Amas Rosh Hashanah. Since you're carrying it through Arba Amas Rosh Hashanah, so therefore you come with chatos for that, not for bringing it into the skupa, just for carrying it through the Arba Amas Rosh Hashanah. So that the Chacham are not matir the Gzeira. It's because the difference between Gzeira, the Rabbanon, which is mamish can come to Chiyuv Chatos, or to another Gzeira. Yeah. So the Ma'aseh also the Chiyuv Chatos, the Shar Rabbanon. So the Gemara says, if that's the case, Teich Dal Namas Namen Nigzer, which should be Geyser, even Teich Dal Namas. Why? That may be that he will pick it up in the Shusarabim. It'll fall down, he'll pick it up in the Shusarabim, and he'll go onto the step, which is a Karmelis, and bring it into the house, which is a Rosh Hashanah. So even so, the Chash, you can anyway come to Chiyuv Chatos. How? You can come to Chiyuv Chatos by, he's standing on the Karmelis, true. Standing on the Karmelis. It fell into Rosh Hashanah, and it's less than Arba Amas. You pick it up Rosh Hashanah, and you walk into the Karmelis, okay, but wait, you're not going to stay in the Karmelis, you're walking into the house. So you walk in the house, so then you might be Rosh Hashanah. Maybe you'll say the Chibna Masechta Karmelis Aslan, if since there's a break between Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah, we're not worried about it. So that's what the Chacham Gzeir. So Rava said, "Hamad v'chelik het tchilas arba l'seif arba v'virid derech olav chayev." That if somebody is I think it's saying that that you might say that that because if you carry from the Rosh Hashanah into the Rosh Hashanah, and if you walk past the Carmelis, so then you're not over. That's why less than is pshat that since the Carmelis there's the Carmelis in the middle, so therefore it's a break between the Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah. You have a break of the Carmelis. You have a break of the Carmelis, so then you a break of the Carmelis, so then you're not high. There's no deraisa. So it's not true. Why? Because Rabbi said that if somebody takes something from 4 amas from in the Shusarabim, it picks up and puts it down 4 amas further away. So he picks something up in the Shusarabim, puts it down 4 amas further away. But he took it like to himself. He picks up, takes it to himself, then puts it further down. So when he put it to himself, where and so you're higher than 10 tefachim. So it's a mokim p'tur. So you picked it up, you put it over, you picked it up, took it to yourself, and then you put it down. So when you picked it up higher than 10 tefachim, it's a mokim p'tur. So you took it from Rosh Hashanah, went to the mokim p'tur, and then you put it down, and you're still higher. So you see, if you take from, that even going through a mokim p'tur, karmas does not make you profit. So therefore, if you're that you come to Isachatos, you should be choshev. Why? Because you'll take it from Shabbat and bring it into the house. Okay, it's going through a kamas, but that does not make him potter from a chatos. Inside the Omer Rabbi, because Abbas if Arba b'derech olav chay. The Gemara says Hachamaskin was spoken about biskupa ruch. It's a longer skupa. So therefore, ad hoch mitke. So we're not worried you'll take it into the Shabbat because he picks it up. He won't take it straight into the house because it's a longer skupa, and therefore he will. We're not worried that it'll come to chatas because he'll remember. The Iboy same and other terrorists. So this is all according to Bai's Pirish that the askupa is a skupa of karmas. The Iboy same lo'ilam askupa she'ein arucha. That's talking about shortas, right? A short askupa. But nevertheless, I'm not worried you'll take it into the house. Why? Ustam kisa kedesh yunim ma'ayin behu u'monach lehu. Because Stam Kisa Kedesh, when you take that, you look inside. So therefore, you're not going to pick it up and take it right into the house. You read it, you stop, you stop and you look at it. So it Mela, so therefore, we're not worried that you'll take it straight into the house. Okay. So Gemara says, 1 second. If that's the case, that you look into Kisa Kedesh, so you should be worried. Why? Because he might take it, pick it up in Rosh Hashanah. And you start reading it, and he was reading it, just walk in, absent-mindedly walk into his house. Because once you're reading it, your attention is not focused, aware of, So that's the inside. Maybe we'll look at the Shusrab and go straight to Shusayachid. Yeah. So if it falls, once it falls down, there is a chashash. There is a chashash. Why are you saying there's no chashash? There's a chashash. You'll take it in the Shab and you read it. Once it's still there before that scope, you won't stop to read it on that scope. You'll start reading in the Shab and you pick it up, read it, and as you're reading, just go straight into what the Gemara says. Amani ben Azai, it's ben Azai. It says Mahalach Ka'imed that he says Mahalach Ka'imed, and therefore, so when you walk, you're always considered it's like stopping. So therefore, when you walk onto the skupa, so it means you've stopped on the skupa. Because Shabbos, if you make a hanoch in the middle, between you take something from Shusrab and you take it in Shusay Yachid, and you stop in the middle in a Mokim P'tur or something, you stop in the middle and it's a separate malacha, so that it separates it, and therefore you're not chayav. So therefore, since the scope of the Carmel is in the middle, so therefore we're not worried he'll walk from Shusrabim into Shusay Yachid, because when he walks onto that scope, which is a Carmelist, it's considered, according to Ben Azai, it's considered a stop. So Gemara says, one second, still there's a chash. Maybe we'll throw it. He'll throw it that from the Shusrab. Even though the scoop is a karmis, what we're talking about, if the scoop is a karmis, it's all according to the Teretz the scoop is a karmis. The Abaya's word was that if the scoop is a karmis, we're not worried about their rice. So we're trying to see there is a worry of their rice. Okay, so now it's a different worry. Maybe he'll take it, pick up Shusrab if it falls. The mission is talking about case it didn't fall. He's still holding on. It's Xera that maybe it'll fall. And we say that Xera, which can come to Chiyav Chatos, is a very strict Xera. So we're not going to be, we're going to keep that Xera. So it says, it still come to Chiyav Chatos. Dilma Zorok Misery, maybe we'll throw it. That the Rabbi agrees when you throw it. If you throw it through an area of a Carmelist, you're Chayav. So okay, there's no worry about throwing because you're not allowed to throw kisak. So we see from here, we learn that the fact there's no chash, maybe you throw it directly from the Shusrabim into Shusayachid. It's a riot, you're not allowed to throw kisak. Okay. If it was reading Berosh Hagag, it says in the Mishnah, if it was reading Berosh Hagag, so what should you do? And so you should, if it goes too low, it's reading Berosh Hagag, which is a Shusay Yachid, because it's so if it's Berosh Hagag, so you should, if it's gets too low and you're not allowed to bring it in, you should turn it around the other way around. You turn it around, that the writing shouldn't be upwards, but the other side of the pash. So the Gemara says, how can you do that? Mishori, how can you turn around the chumash or whatever it is, safer? How can you turn it around the other way around? We learned, you're not allowed to safer this if you want to, like you finish your writing, you want to put it away for a while or whatever. You can't just you want to go out or something. You can't take it and put it upside down. I mean to say, the writing on the table. The writing should face the table. You're not allowed to do that. Hello, let's have beged. If you want to go away or something for a while, take a bit of a break. So you put the beged over it. So the Gemara says, what kind of question? Well, it's possible, of course, that we should put a beged. But here you're talking about the thing is formal. So what should you do? You can't put a beged over it. You put the beged, make half of the street, half of the street. You can't. You'll be carrying it. You end up, so there's no after. Therefore, you turn it around. That's the best thing to do. Is not possible. If you won't turn around, is even bigger bezoin of kisakech. You could bezoin kisakech straight. If you leave it like that, and people see that lying in the safer like that, that itself is a bezoin, and it's better to turn it around upside down. So that's less of a bezoin. It's less of the packet. It's not right. Why not turn around kisakech? Because it's a bezoin. What do you mean you turn around kisakech? Cover it with a thing. So over here, to put the parism up, to put a beggar, you can't. You put a beggar off the street, you end up carrying. Remember that? Um, so therefore, the best thing is the least design is here. Yes, to turn around. That's the it says so we say what you do is supposed to turn it around. So if you're standing on the roof and it's rolled and part of it's touching the floor, whatever it is, so you and you're not so you so the first few opinions, is that you turn it around, no, not to roll it back in. But how do you turn it around? It'll just fall down. You turn it around, you leave it, it's gonna fall in the street. So it's for noch, it's not resting on anything. It's standing on the roof and it's rolled down. It's like hanging into the street, almost touching the floor. So what do you mean turn around? What's going to help? I'm a Rabbi case in the shupper. They have a slanting wall. So it's talking about slanting wall. So it is resting. So the Gemara says, Abai said, the Maya to Masnis. What do you say? Because from the shupper, that it's a slanting wall. So, but how does it fit in with the Sefer? Because the Sefer, it says that it's talking about the case that it's almost touching the floor of the Rishus Rabbi. But if it's a slanting wall, so before it touches the floor of Rishus Rabbim, it's going to be resting on the wall. It's already going to be resting on the wall. Because it's there saying it's rolled down, it's hanging, and it's almost touching the Rishus Rabbim. What do you mean almost touching the Rishus Rabbim? If it's already resting on, because the wall is slanting, it's already resting on it. So, aim a safer. How's it safer? I feel only like a thread, the thickness of the thread from the floor of the Rishus Rabbim. You can roll it back. But it must already be resting because it's resting on the wall. So the Gemara says, okay, that there's something missing. That the first, so before the opinion of Yehuda, if it's a slanting wall, then was what he said earlier. The case is but if it's a wall which is not meshupa, so then if it's close to the ground, it's less than 3 tvachim, you roll it back. Sorry, if it's higher than 3 tvachim, you roll it back, and if it's lower than 3 tvachim, then you turn it around. Right. That's what the Gemara is saying here is that if it's within 3 tvachim of the ground, it's considered as if it's resting in the ground already. So therefore, if it's within 3 tvachim of the ground, so then you can't take it back because if it's already like in the Rishus Rabbim, and therefore you have to turn around. If it's more than 3 tvachim above the ground, then you can still roll it back. Okay, everybody.